Hello and welcome to BST Weekly, our second podcast. I'm Tim Blacker, and in the studio with me on the other end should be Joey Kane. Are you there?
Hello, Tim, and how are you? Pleasure to be here as usual.
Well, it's always a pleasure. It's such a good occasion to get in here after a weekend of footy, Joey, as you know. But a little one for the beast is off the top. We may or may not have a special guest in today. Have you seen someone lurking around the studios of BST?
Well, he's tough to find. So
He is tough to find.
Can't say I've seen him outright yet, but word is he's here.
Well, word is he is here. As we pull down this blind on the other side of the table, we have a special guest, and there he is. And just for everyone out there, he doesn't want his identity known. He wants to be sort of the invisible man to pipe up and get involved, and that's why he's known out there, Beasters, as the Phantom. Everyone welcome the Phantom. How are you?
Good, thank you, Tim.
Well, that's the way. That's are you nervous?
Very.
Very. Well, how do you think he's going to settle in, Joey?
He doesn't need to be nervous because I'm sure, as you'll explain to the beasters out there, this man is a man who knows a lot about sports, especially AFL in particular.
Yep.
He's been around the game his whole life, and his opinions on the dollar for mine.
Yep, he is. Again, we can't give away his exact his exact name or his whereabouts and what he gets up to during the week, but I can say that he is one of Victoria's finest. I will give that much away. He lives in the state of Victoria.
I think you've given too much away there, Tim.
Too much already? All right, we'll stop there. Why don't we get straight into it then, guys, and we'll look at the first game of last round, of course, round 9, and it was Collingwood versus Sydney Swans. We said last week it was a massive game for Collingwood to keep the bounce going and keep momentum going after that Geelong win, but they got absolutely demolished, 102-55. Your thoughts, Joey?
Oh, look, after the Geelong game, I think everyone expected them to carry on in the fashion they did in 2010 and 2011 during the regular season, but yeah, look, they never really looked in the game for mine. Sydney dominant in all facets of the ground, especially their spread and their ability to get out into this open space and use their run and carry and speed. But look, Collingwood, as we've mentioned before, they're a bit of a worry, and they're going through maybe a transitional phase with some of the personnel in the team. Phantom, what are your thoughts?
No idea.
Yeah, well, look, Beasters, he is a bit nervous. That's a too broad a question to open him up there, Joey. So, one thing I'll just say, to follow on from you, Joey, is you said get out into space. Also, just in the midfield, contested work in clearances and everything, they were destroyed. I don't care what the stats were for that, but just watching at the game, which I was, it was just so evident all night that Sydney were dominant in that area, and it's a big worry for Collingwood. I mean, Darren Jolly got destroyed, in my opinion, as well there. But Phantom, look, I mean, what do you think the problem is at Collingwood? I mean, the coach and captain have come out midweek and said transitional, but for mine, it's not so much about that. It's just the fact that there is a lack of pressure week in, week out, apart from the Geelong game. What do you think?
Well, Tim, you could look at it a number of ways. Whether you use injuries as an excuse or inexperienced players, I think has to come down to the coach.
The coach? You're going after the head man.
Jeez. Not going after him, but geez, just doesn't look good, the downward spiral the club's going at the moment. No,
well, it doesn't. And I think we discussed this last week, Joey, in the sense that the defensive pressure that was there under Malthouse in the premiership year and even the year after 2011 was by far so much superior to what we're seeing now. They've gone away from their game plan of going around the boundary line, and again, as we said, which I'll throw to the Phantom over there, I think the defenders on this team are not good enough one-on-one to be able to cope with a turnover, say, in midfield.
Yeah, I guess you look back to as far back as the grand final years of 02 and 03. You had blokes like Cloak, even old Texie Walker there.
Tex.
Third man up. And I don't know, is it a time to change that game plan?
Well, you can look at it in a number of ways, but for mine, they are just so far behind Geelong. I know they beat Geelong last week, but they're just consistency-wise, they're miles behind Geelong, a million miles behind Hawthorn, in my opinion, and as we saw on the weekend, a long way behind Sydney as well. So, look, there's a lot of work to do down there, and it's, they're fortunate that they're coming up against a Brisbane side that's missing 4 really good players and key parts of that system.
Do you think that Collingwood are actually... definitely Brisbane are missing half their side and they're not expected to give a whimper.
It's a danger game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real danger game for Collingwood. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Well, yeah, I just don't think it's a fait accompli as such yet. I really think they'll have to work for the win.
Oh, they'll have to work. Don't you worry about that. And we'll, of course, when we do the preview for next round, we'll talk a bit more about it. But I think, it's going to be a real close one up there. But
And in this game for mine, as we've touched on earlier, it's more about Collingwood's deficiencies than Sydney's ability and how well they're tracking. It's definitely about how bad Collingwood were and not about how good Sydney were. Normally, I'm not into that. Normally, you got to give credit to the winning team, but I think almost, I think 10, 12 sides out of the competition would have beat Collingwood last week. So
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more with that. But Hanbury, Goods, McVeigh, Jack and O'Keefe all had fantastic games. Ryan O'Keefe had 14 tackles, which is just, probably more than half the damn Collingwood side put together.
outrageous.
Yeah, it was an incredible effort, and they've got so many experienced heads there. But just before we move on, because we know how good Sydney are and how much they will just plod along all year doing the same thing. Dane Swan, I want to bring up with you guys now. He got 23 possessions, but very ineffective for mine the whole night. And he went at 43% efficiency. I know he's not the best kick in the game, but that is a disgrace. Well, a disgrace for an AFL footballer to go at that percentage.
He's one of those guys who needs to be at full tilt. He needs to be at 100% intensity at every contest for him to have... And he's a great player on his day. Not taking away from it all there, but as you said, if he's not on, or if he's putting in a bit of a lackluster effort, that's what'll happen.
Well, I couldn't agree more. Phantom over there will get you involved again. For mine, it's not just the previous game; it's the whole year. He's been horrible this year, for my opinion.
Definitely not getting his 40 pluses.
No.
Well, whether that's a team-related issue or...
Does that bring to the question that he's a bit of a front runner there, in that sense?
Well, 5 tackles stands out to me.
Yeah.
In the Sydney game. Well, I don't know.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just putting it out there for discussion.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the whole midfield in general has been horrible.
Yeah.
Maybe he just stands out in that facet.
Yeah.
I'll go so far as to say he is, because I'm almost backed by the words of probably the next captain, Scott Pendlebury. He's called out his teammates a few weeks ago now, saying that, I'm not sure of exactly his words, but they were lazy and they have to stop cheating going forward. Not too many other big-name players in the Collingwood midfield that's directed at, other than Dane Swan, I think. So he's probably the leader of the bunch in that regard for mine.
Yep, no, I couldn't agree more. So, look, worrying times down at the Pies, but we'll look at their game for next week a bit later. So let's shoot over to Saturday afternoon now, where it was Port Adelaide versus Geelong, and really the quarter-time score of 7-1-43 to 4 behinds 4 in Geelong's favour. Just says it all, really, about where these two teams are at.
Yeah, look, it was over before it started, wasn't it? The Catters can do that. They can get on a big run early or during the game or late. This is what happens. And so it happened to be that run came in the first quarter and they pretty much held them out for the rest of the game. But one for mine with these two teams in particular, I wonder how much mental scarring that big grand final loss is going to have on Port Adelaide versus Geelong going forward. I wonder if it's going to be one of those reoccurring things that we see between teams sometimes. Like, I was going to say Collingwood and Sydney, but you've got, I guess, your Cats and Hawthorn haven't lost to them in a while, and it happens every now and then that teams just match up well against other sides and have the mental stranglehold over them, if you will. And I wonder how much effect that has.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't disagree with you there at all. I mean, obviously in the Hawthorn Geelong case, I know it's sort of flipped around the other way there, given that Hawthorn won the premiership. But yeah, I mean, Geelong have just made a pact from that day. It's well publicised. Chapman and the group said that we're never going to lose to this team again. And I mean, it's true in that sense. But look, I think you just have to acknowledge that Geelong at the minute are a far superior side to Port Adelaide as well. What do you think, Phantom?
Look, it's an interesting one. You always say Geelong are going to get old and grow tired, fall to the bottom, but they still seem to find a way to win.
Yep, they brought in another debutant on the weekend, a Tassie boy actually, George Burberry. Went to the same school as my good self here, Joseph. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the levels he did though. But
couldn't though.
But look, I think that's their 7th debutant this year, even, or in the past 2 years, or some crazy stat. But it's just a real eye-opening take on how it needs to be done if you want to stay at the top.
Look, I'm going to put my neck out on the line here. The strategy of evolving and introducing young players while they're at their peak is well and good, and it's served them. You couldn't fault it to this point. But I do think there will come to a point, almost like an elastic band, where it just snaps. Fair enough that he got his debut, but didn't do too much for mine. And I'm not saying he's going to be a terrible player or anything like that, but gee, you wouldn't want too many more young kids to filter through there, would you? Not yet, anyway.
Oh, probably not yet. I mean, the thing for mine is that Geelong are probably the only team in the league where they can get this many young guys through because of the level of experience and know-how of their senior guys. So I think they're sort of the only team that can kind of get away with it. And I mean, good on them for being able to do it. But
I guess they're
going to keep doing it, I think.
Yeah, I guess what I mean is if you get a team full, if there is some injuries to the senior guys, the more experienced guys, a team full of your Smets, Burberrys, Schroeder, Murdoch, a team full of guys like that probably wouldn't stack up in finals.
Yeah,
I just worry that,
I don't think so either. I think you're right there. I mean, they wouldn't want too many injuries for mine fans. What do you reckon?
They're looking at regaining Vardy in the next week or so.
Is that right, is it?
Yeah.
So that puts, I can't really know how they pronounce it, but Blick Calves or something? Blick Calves or something. But yeah, that puts him in a pretty rough spot, I would have thought.
He's been doing well too, so I guess it's just a good strength to have.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean,
maybe
Trent West, yeah. For mine, I really don't rate Trent West that highly, guys. But I don't know. But a positive thing for the Hawks, for the Cats though, guys, is that Big Tomahawk kicked 6 against the Pies. I think he kicked 4 or 5. So it's good signs.
Improving every day.
He's over his back issues, Phantom. You know all there is to know in Victoria.
I guess so.
I guess so. He's still flustered, guys. But Stevie Johnson also a magnificent day out for him as well. 33 touches and a goal as well. But that's Stevie J.
To be fair to the Phantom here, when you come down from holding such a position as he does, to such a low level that VSC are at currently, we're building beasts to stay with us. But you would be flustered when the overwhelming support from the beasters out there. You guys do a fantastic job, and anyone would be flustered coming into this environment. But sorry to cut you off there, Timothy.
That's all right, but I wholeheartedly agree. Let's swing over to the other Saturday afternoon game. I've done this 2 weeks in a row. There are 3 games Saturday afternoon. I've got to get my head around this.
It's a head trip, isn't it?
It is. But up to Skoda Stadium we go. I don't think we really need to spend a lot of time on this one. The Eagles, as we've said, Joey, they're a big favourite of ours. Mm-hmm. They've smacked the Giants up there. positive note for the Giants for mine is that Jeremy Cameron kicked 3 again. Gee, we love this boy down here. Imagine if he was playing at a Victorian side just quietly.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, Taylor Adams is starting to put together some really good footy for the Giants as well. But I mean, what else do you really need to say about this, guys?
Oh, look, before we get Fant's expert opinion on this, the most exciting thing for me about this game was the jumper clash.
It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Absolutely unbelievable.
I didn't rate it at all.
And the stadium's built the wrong way.
Yes.
Again.
Yep. How many times does this have to happen?
How it can happen twice, fans, I don't know. You are involved in everything in Victoria. What's your take on the stadium?
To be honest, I didn't notice, but yeah, definitely shocking. I'm guessing this is sun in the eyes stuff.
It definitely is. I mean, there was one bit of footage where the ball went out to Lockie Whitfield on one of the wings, and he literally had to hold both hands like as a cap on a visor on a cap. Yeah. Until it was basically hit him on the tip before he put his hands to it. But not good enough up there. But look, Jack Darling and Joshy Kennedy for the Eagles, 5 goals each. Joshy Hill, another one of our favourites, kicked 3 as well. And the Eagles are storming up there. They're up to 6 now. The percentage is up to 123. They're looking good.
No, look, we called them to make top 4. They'll be 3rd. Maybe even push into the top 2. I genuinely believe that the top 4 is already set, but I'll get to that at the end.
Yeah.
I've got my top 4 for the year. I'm 100% confident on it.
Well, how can
the hot tip?
How can it be set?
Oh no, not set as in my mind.
Oh, okay, in your
which
mind,
is the most important thing going on in the world. Let's be honest. But we'll touch on that later. I think Fans, the Giants for you. How do you see their development so far? And just a quick take on how you see the rest of the year going for them.
Well, they got a couple of genuine future stars, but at the moment it's hard to read how far away that is. When the likes of Cameron, when he's going to get enough ball to actually tear games apart, he's certainly doing a good job. But look, 100 points.
Well, if he was getting the same sort of ball that the other expansion side, Gold Coast Suns would be getting, he'd be kicking 7 a week. He would be, given his given the trash he's being delivered. Well, not trash. That's the wrong word.
I don't think it is. It's pretty average. They've been a pretty average side. Let's not understate that at all.
Sorry to cut the fans off over there because he's bristling. He's got a lot to get out. But for me, the big thing is you look at it, and Gold Coast are the template that you look for. In my opinion, GWS are not going to win 4 games next year, and that's what the Suns currently sit at. They'll probably finish the year, at least 8 or 9, and potentially even higher the way they're playing. But GWS are not going to win 4 games next year, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm with you 100%, but I know for a fact, because we've spoken it off camera, that the Phantom disagrees wholeheartedly with this.
He doesn't like it.
Oh, I wouldn't say disagrees. They've gone different strategies, in my opinion, the two expansion sides. So, look, Gold Coast have definitely got more experience, a bit more age to their team. So you'd expect them to win more games.
It's an important point, fans. That's good.
Yeah. So I don't know what more can be said. I think we'll have to just wait and see with this.
Is it a situation where we need to just say, look, the Giants, as you said, fans have gone a different path. They've gone young rather than the Suns, who opted to get a lot of players. Well, not a lot, but more players in that sort of Ablett age bracket.
Yeah, fair few.
So do we say, look, we have to put the Giants on the shelf here for 5 years, and then we'll see them?
Not necessarily. It's I think. Look, free agency period could become very interesting this year.
Well, they've said they're going to raid it. Yeah. I'm not sure what sort of talent they'll be able to get this year, though. There's not really that much going around, is there?
Well, for mine and
Doug Thomas.
Yeah, maybe potentially, but I don't think they couldn't get any so far. So, they've tried to get big names up there already, and they've ended up with Cal Ward, who is a good player, but he's not. He's not that Ablett biggest name in the game type of player at all. So,
yeah.
I know that the fans, your thoughts are that they can get some players in this free agent period and they can help the kids develop.
Yeah, that's right.
But for mine, though, I think a kid's, and maybe this is just a weird sort of coaching theory I have, but for mine, a kid's development, almost all of it happens in the first 50 games, in their first exposure to the game. And in that period, for mine, you've got to have good leaders around you and good teachers. Now, I just don't think the Giants have had enough good leadership around them. Richmond is a really good example, I think. For 30 years, they've had high-end draft picks. They've had a lot of talented kids go through there, and they just haven't been able to put it together. And I think that's because they're older leaders. They don't have any. They don't have any older guys teaching them the culture, the way to train, the way to play, how to win, importantly. And I think the Gold Coast have gone about it the right way in that regard. And I very much do worry about the Giants because, I don't think they can get big-name free agents because who would want to go, no offence to our listeners in Blacktown and Greater Western Sydney, but for who would want to go up there and play your footy there when you've got, they're almost down with the Bulldogs and the D's. Why wouldn't you want to go to a Gold Coast or a Lions or a Roos or any other team higher up on the ladder than that? Port Adelaide even, I'd prefer to go there.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
Oh, look, we could discuss about this all night, I guess, Joe. And I wouldn't want to call you biased on mic, but I think that's where it's going to lie.
Strong words from the
I'm going to take over here because these two are about to get in the stoush. But look, I think both sides of the argument there have a pretty valid point. But look, let's move on to the next game. Of course, well, this is a big one, wasn't it? St Kilda versus the Doggies. Maybe, Joey, last week we were too generous on the old Saints.
No, yeah, maybe.
Western Bulldogs, look, we don't do it very often here on BST, but we tip our hat to you because finally we saw a young, hungry side, which they should be, play some good footy.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be, again, maybe a bit controversial here, and I'm going to take the other side of the coin. I don't mean to be, but I do believe this one was a lot more about the Saints than the Dogs, for mine again. The Dogs have won contested possessions and played in this manner pretty much all year. They've given a bit of a fight, and, nothing new with the Dogs. I think they were on par with their other performances. I think the Saints were just below average.
Yeah, well, saying contested possession there, they won the contested possession 138 to 113. So, again, they've had a win there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're right. It does say a lot about where St Kilda are at for mine. Fans, what about you?
Yeah, look, the stats look pretty even. I guess you could look at hitouts maybe. Dogs had a fair bit.
What do you think of Minson?
Big Wilfred Minson is the All-Australian ruckman at the minute for mine.
Good call.
I don't know. Definitely in the top top three choices for it anyway.
Lock him in for mine.
Big Wilfred, he can play.
And the fans knows all about Big Will.
Oh, look, he just puts his heart on the plate and says,
46
come at
hits,
me.
just quietly.
Yeah, 46.
That's
Ridiculous.
very impressive. Dylan Addison, 4 goals. Kobe Stevens had the game of his life with 3, and Ryan Griffin was really good as well with 30 touches and 2 goals as well. He gives them such good drive from all areas on the ground there. But look, Big Nicky Rewalt kick 4 again. Gee, it's not going to happen, I know, but gee, he'd be so tempted to look at it like a Dougie Hawkins 1 year elsewhere. We need to try and chase a flag.
Yeah, I actually want to see him go. I'm all for loyalty, but he's a guy who you couldn't deny he's put his heart and his soul and all of his efforts.
And all of his body
And all
on the line for the Saints, Joe.
Yes,
Tongue in cheek.
certainly has. Look, he should probably move on for mine. I know, fans, you've got some pretty strong thoughts on Nick Rewalt and the Saints, though.
Oh, not so much Nick Rewalt. Geez, they're getting some age. You'd sort of want to say that the Saints are better than the Dogs this year, purely for experience and Dogs introducing so many new players. So, yeah, I think it's a bit more downhill from here.
Well, they're going to looking at the table now, just opposite us. I still didn't get that out right. Over the table from us, guys. They are going to finish in the bottom 4. I cannot see them getting above Brisbane, the Roos, or the Suns. There for mine.
No, they definitely Port maybe, but yeah,
yeah, true.
they're definitely probably a lock for bottom 4. But Fance,
he's not happy with that one.
We can see.
Come on.
Gee, it's a bit harsh on the old Power there, I think.
Oh no, Power, yeah.
Well, they have lost 4 in a row. I can't see the Power winning any more games this year.
Nah.
I can't, honestly.
They're going to win this week, man.
Who have they got?
Keep talking, I'll find out.
Yeah, anyway, back to the Saints.
They got the Western Bulldogs this week.
Dogs will get over it. No, they will. Look, the Saints, yes. My question is, and I don't know the answer to it, have they hit rock bottom yet?
No.
How much worse does it get?
You lose blokes like Del Santo, Montagna, Rewalt.
Did you set this up off camera? The fans was prepared for that question a mile out. But yeah, sorry, keep going, fans.
No, that's it. You look at the experience that they're going to lose over the next year or two, and
yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And as we've said before, their bottom 6 is just not strong enough by any stretch of the imagination at this stage. I mean,
it never was. Even in the heyday.
Never. Yeah, you're right. Never was. But just to reiterate the names there: Montagna, Del Santo. I've gone blank. Rewalt, and the last one, Milne, there as well. So I mean, Milne, I think everyone can see by his games this year that he's starting to severely drop off. Only 1 goal on the weekend when he would have had a feast against the Dogs in previous years.
Oh, plus, as you always mention, small forwards are at the mercy of their midfield almost, aren't they? If you're up and running, you're going well, and if you're struggling, then small forwards are going to look very, very ordinary at times.
Yeah, exactly. But no, look, serious problems for St Kilda in our opinion there, Beasters. But look, we'll move on. Saturday night footy. Carlton got the win over the Lions up at the Gabba. They got the jump on them, 41-19 at quarter time. Brisbane came roaring back to lead at the half, but played a pretty ordinary second half, really.
Sometimes you just got to get the job done, don't you? Look,
Carlton nearly kicked themselves out of it, 20 behinds for the night.
Yeah, 2 things for mine that stick out the most. Brisbane have been competitive lately, which is in complete contrast to the start of the year. They were pretty average at the start of the year, I thought, but the last few games they've come back and showed something. The Blues, though, for mine, I was very, very bullish, and you beasters will know. I thought the Blues were a lock for top 2, actually. I had them, so finally I'm not sold anymore. I don't think their key forward issue is such a big issue. Wade's back, yes.
Well, you don't agree with me here, but I think Jared Wade is so important to that side.
No, I do agree with that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Fance just gave me a look of disapproval, so I don't think he agrees.
Look, I don't mind Wadey, but look, their forward line is in trouble. You look at Cruiser, and you compare his hit-out count to Warnock. Warnock 33. Big Cruiser 16. So he's obviously spent some time in the forward line. 0-3 score line. So
yeah, well,
not doing enough or not up to it.
I don't know what it is, but I guess when you predict him in the top 4, you'd want him to be up and firing.
Now, I had a big argument with a Carlton supporter about this. Has Matthew Cruiser done enough to justify his number 1 pick? Because for me, it's a big fat no.
Gee, who was number 2 in that draft, though?
Cochin.
Oh, yeah. I guess, we play...
I know it's hard to compare
a
ruckman and a midfielder, but I mean, if you look back to the BST's favourite, Joshy Fraser, I mean, early on he made an impact straight away.
Oh, Collingwood made...
It was a different ruck setup at the time, with being able to run from the goal square for the hit-outs, for the centre bounce.
Collingwood made a mistake playing Josh Fraser so much in his early years. They ruined his career. But
Cruiser may be the same.
Well, potentially.
His knees aren't great, are they? And his body's not great as a whole.
Well, he had the hip surgery where he trimmed a bit off, didn't he? On the side of his hip there. So, look, Cruiser for mine. What would they? The question I would say is, where would they be without him? I mean,
well, they're stuck with Robbie Warnock, who
Sean
yeah,
Hampson.
yeah. Well, the big hammer is not even in the side, which is concerning.
Too busy with his extracurricular activities.
Yes, too busy in other places. We'll just say that. But I mean,
In other places.
Robert Warnock. For mine, yeah, it's great that he had 33 hit-outs, but he had one possession for the game. One kick for the game. That's not good enough.
Oh, look, going up against Big Coxie and Nui, yeah, that ain't going to cut it. That ain't going to win you a premiership. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, no, when you compare it to those guys, I mean, but are we in a stage now, because I think it needs to be, I think Nick Nui has revitalised the importance of a ruck roll. I think they need to be able to accumulate the footy and be dangerous around the ground. A ruckman, that is.
It's the way the game's trending, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, are we going to get to a stage where Robert Warnock is just going to be phased out of the game? The Robert Warnock type ruckmans.
Oh, are we going to get there? I think we're
possibly
past
already there. Yeah.
Even Cox is. I know you just mentioned him as one of the premier ruckmen, but I'm going to knock him here. I don't know that he does it. Nick Nui, his impact when he's come in, as opposed to Cox, who's supposedly one of the great ruckmen. Yeah, just completely different. But no, I'm with you there. How did Carlton rectify the issue though? If you think Cruiser is a problem, or the ruck situation is a problem, how do they go about it? Free agency? I don't think there's any big name ruckman.
No,
maybe
big
Daniel
names.
Gorringe from the Suns, who is rumoured to be wanting out. I don't know. He's no.
But he's not. Yeah. I mean, he's going to take a couple of years to crack it as well. I mean, Ben Hudson could always go there after his stint with Collingwood if he retires again. But
Leuenberger?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, he's out this week. I'm not. What actually happened to him?
Not 100% sure.
100% sure. It's look, it's I don't know. It's a big problem for mine. Sean Hampson should be a lot better player than what he is, in my opinion. It's just his goal kicking that lets him down severely. But I just want to flick over to Brisbane before we move on. They talk about second-year blues as a big thing. Dane Zorko, what do you get? 8 possessions on the weekend. For a man that was lighting it up last year.
Well, I know Fance has very, very, very vicious opinions on Zorko.
Not really.
Off camera, he certainly does, Peasters. But what do you think, Fance?
We love a punch here.
Oh, look, you can look at even James Magno. I'm not sure quite on his impact this year, but you get those blokes mature.
He's come in the last 2 games, yeah.
They come in and they can have an impact early off, and whether it's coaches suss out their strengths and weaknesses, or whether it's just a fade out. Simple as that.
So are you saying that potentially this road that clubs are going down of getting mature age recruits is not the right option?
Oh, not at all, Tim. I think, you look at the Bombers. Union hasn't played yet. Is that right? Van Union? Something?
Yep. Daniel Van Noonen. Dylan Van Noonen.
Yeah, so, look, whether he gets a game or not will be interesting, but there's plenty of mature age recruits that are hitting it up, like Goodsy's older brother.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Coming for the Dogs, so...
Brett. Sammy Dwyer at Collingwood as well is playing some good footy.
Look, Spence has been very, very diplomatic here, but just back to Zorko quickly. I'm going to say what Fance didn't say. He's saying that Zorko's done. He's done. Put a fork in him, and Beasters will remember.
Well, that is going to be a problem for one donkey-looking friend of ours, Joseph. If you haven't seen it, Beasters, just view the 2.5-minute clip of our holiday times. But he's not playing great footy. I don't think he's done as yet, but...
Yeah, silly Fans. We move on though.
Yeah, but it's definitely want to lift his output. Put it that way.
Well, no, I'm gonna hold up the show completely and get back to it. There was always question marks on his
size,
attitude, and there was always knocks on his motivation, I suppose, and his extracurricular work. But maybe that's just catching up with him. Anyway, we push on to a much more exciting game.
Well, not so much exciting because I watched it and it wasn't a great game in my opinion. But dream time at the G. Here we go again. Look, credit to Essendon. I mean, we didn't write you off totally. Don't bloody start with that riffraff. Essendon beasts.
You know who we're talking about.
But look, Essendon, credit to them. They came out and they got back to playing some good footy and choking the opposition, which is what they did in the early part. So credit to them there. This game, again, for mine and for yours, I know it will be, Joey. This proves to me Richmond are still absolutely nowhere near it. They have failed against Collingwood. They have failed against Essendon. They can get there before the game and beat as many bloody drums as they want to. Joey, they're not good enough for a club that reckons this was their year.
Well, it's going to be me, but you've put on the gloves, and I'm going to ring the bell because I'm 100% in your corner, Timothy.
Yeah.
Richmond haven't done enough, and I just...
Pathetic.
Yep.
In my
abysmal.
opinion.
But I'm going to pass the baton here to Fans, who I know disagrees with that very strongly.
Not so much. I have one question. Where's the mullet man gone?
Var Marriage?
Yeah, look.
His output's dropped a long way, hasn't it?
42 to 21.
Well, he had 16 for the game, Big Ivan, out of those 21. So yeah, I mean, last year he was all the rage, wasn't he?
Well, he was all Australian ruckman. He was best in the league for a time. First half of the year, definitely.
Yeah. So look, I mean, I'm pretty sure Big Bell Chambers just quietly didn't have that great a game either. Only the 7 possessions, but still 25 hit-outs there. Paddy Ryder was the one for mine. Mm-hmm. I've been very critical of him over the stretch, but he was fantastic for me. But Richmond, where do you start?
They won't. I don't think they deserve to make finals. Even.
Well, they're not going to. If you look at the 8, which we will, another one of our esteemed colleagues. James True Blue Aussie Watson, he called me during the week and said that he reckons the 8 is locked, bar one side coming in.
Collingwood.
And that would be Collingwood, yes, for Adelaide out. He reckons that the 8 is set. And just by looking at it, I don't entirely disagree with him either, to be honest. But I don't know. What do you say about Richmond? How many chances are they going to get? And furthermore, and this is to both of you, I want an answer from both of you. If they don't make finals, does Damien Hardwick stay there next year?
Big call. Coaching sagas are, all the rage at the moment, and I'm sure it's only going to get worse as the season goes on. Will he be in there next year if they don't make finals? It's a good question, and I don't have an answer.
Well, Phantom, we never sit on the fence here at BST. We want an answer, please.
Look, if they don't make finals, they've definitely got upside, but it's going to be tough to justify him remaining the coach.
Joe?
Well, that is sitting on the fence, I must say.
Of course it is, but we'll let him off. Go.
No, he doesn't survive, and he shouldn't survive, and look, you have to have someone better to replace him, though.
Yeah.
And
the only person would be a Paul Roos or something like that, but he won't. He won't get back into coaching.
No, not mine either. One name who slipped through the cracks, who Fance and I were talking about off camera earlier today, Dennis Pagan.
Yes.
Now, Fance thinks there's a bit of a stench around him, and it may be detrimental to a club, but to a club big enough as the Tigers, that probably won't matter. I've always rated Dennis Pagan as a coach. I don't know where he's at in his life, but he'd be a name that I'd have a look at if I was...
Well, he's selling real estate. That's where he is in his life.
I thought he was coaching under 18s. There you go.
Well, I definitely know he does real estate. Yeah. So, well, there you go.
Maybe not then.
I would love to see him back. He was... Just a bit of a side note. I reckon he went through 5 packets of Chewy a game. He stuffed it in that gob of his every game. And just our techie has just walked past us here. Just one question for you, Tech Man. His name's Cam, everyone. Cam the Tech Man. Will Damien Hardwick be the coach of Richmond next year if they don't make the 8?
Nice to be on your show, Tim.
Thank you.
Long time listener, first time participant, I guess
Yes.
you'd say. Yes, I think he will be there.
You think he will?
I think he's taken him to where he's got him, which
Is
yeah.
10th.
Yeah, I think he's done enough over the last few years to get another year.
All right. Thanks for that, Cam the Tech Man.
Thank you. Favourite player, Clyde Waterhouse of all time as well.
Clive Waterhouse.
I'll leave you with that.
What was your favourite moment with Clive?
I just love the way he just went about it. He was just a dashing attacker, and I think the Dockers miss Clive at the moment. Maybe they need to find a new Clive.
A new Clive. I love it. And for beasters out there, Cam the Tech Man has been trying to get Clive Waterhouse's name on this show for 20 weeks, and it's finally been done. So he's dancing around in celebration. Thank you, Cam the Tech Man.
Thank you, Tim.
But look, who says we aren't a comedy show here as well at BST? This is fantastic. So yeah, I mean, I think we've covered all that has to be really said there.
Yeah.
Richmond not good enough. Essendon, well done. You got the win you desperately needed. Let's go to Sunday now. Hawthorn versus Gold Coast. Now, who would have seen this one coming? Gold Coast in front at half-time and midway through the third, I think. What a fantastic effort. This game has everything to say about Gold Coast rather than Hawthorn, in my opinion. Fans.
Oh, have to disagree with you there, Timothy. I think it's a matter of Hawthorn realising there's a game on at half-time and Buddy saying, oh yeah, better kick a few here.
Oh, now, for mine, that's a bit harsh. I mean, to me, this, and I know I don't want to boost the ego of the chap next to me, but for mine, this unfortunately says the Gold Coast have arrived and are now seriously playing some good football.
Yeah, look, I won't take anything away from the Gold Coast. They've got some skill. They've got some young, talented kids that are coming through. O'Meara definitely has set the standards pretty high.
I think this is also the first game against a big boy where they've really put their hand up for the full time. So I mean, it's great. It's great for the club and it's great for the competition as well. But I don't think games against the Gold Coast now are an easy one.
F word?
No. Not yet.
Fans?
Couple of years maybe.
We look at the ladder and they're 4 and 5, and I know towards the back end of the year they got a really, really soft, nice little run coming home. They could potentially win 7 or so games, so just don't put it past them.
Oh, but it is the middle part of the year that is also important there.
Yeah, there's a few tough games that are coming up. They got the Cats down at Canadian Park this Saturday night. They'll be sure to put in an effort there. And look,
2
next
trips
time,
to Melbourne in a row. That's a bit rough.
it is a bit rough, but you cop that when you're an interstate side. And no, look for mine. Next time these two teams meet, it may just be a different result.
Well, yes.
To be fair, I did call a 4-goal loss before the game, so give me some credit.
Well, I think you may have said on air last week that a 5-goal loss would be admirable.
Yep.
Something along those lines. So, look, you weren't far off. But just flipping back to Hawthorn there, good to see Buddy Franklin kick 5. I know every man and his dog likes to talk about it, but again, I'm going to throw out a tough question. Well, potentially not tough. Question to both yourself, Joey, and fans. Will Lance Franklin be at the Hawthorn Football Club next year? Joey?
I'll go first quickly. Mine's a yes, but fans, on the other hand...
Oh, look, it's going to be hard to keep him, I think.
Yeah?
Money talks.
Money does talk, even though they're in their window?
Yeah, for how long? How long is that window going to be open for?
Well, I mean, they're not really showing a lot of signs of slowing down at the minute for mine.
I actually think the window's close to closing.
No.
Look, where it's done already. This year, next year, not much more after that for mine. Hodge is almost done, even though he's playing very well this year, granted. He has to be close to the edge.
His form is ridiculous. ridiculous.
Mitchell, he couldn't be too far away either. And, guys like Birchall and Sewell just won't have the run in their legs much longer. So, yeah, maybe a couple more years, but...
Yeah, well...
I know Freo's on the radar for you and Buddy.
Yeah, look, Freo...
Would he ever... Just please rule it out. He's not going to go to GWS, is he? Funded by both their cash and the AFL.
$2 million a year could do it.
That would be just incredible, to be honest.
Yeah,
it would be a shame.
I would like to see it happen.
You would?
Well, they need...
GWS would be better than Gold Coast.
The stench around... That would never happen. The stench around the Giants is just immense.
Yeah.
They need something to lift them. Just give them something.
They'd have the two best forwards in the competition then.
Which one you
care
to share?
Jezza Cameron, mate.
Jezza.
Fair to say fans may have a vested interest.
No, look, I'm saying Freo. I reckon you can use the excuse of a trip back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is his family still over there?
Yes. Yes.
I
would think his extended family definitely would be over there. Grandparents,
okay.
If they were, still with us. Fingers crossed they are. Cousins and all that, I would think they would be. Yeah.
Yep. Fair enough.
So yeah, I could definitely see that.
And his best buddies over there.
Shaz. That is definitely true. Would he fit in Fremantle's game style? He'd fit in any team, wouldn't he? Really? But
you'd squeeze him in some way.
Yeah.
I actually think he's not too... His work rate's nowhere near it, but he's not too dissimilar to Nick Riewoldt in a way, in that they can both play the same lead-up forward type role, who work really hard and get back and can run. So, yeah, Ross Lyon with St Kilda had Nick and that worked, so maybe.
Yeah, that's true. But no, just closing from that game, a fantastic effort from Gold Coast, and let's hope they can keep those performances coming.
Bookmark the F word.
Silly. I'm going to leave... We're going to leave this game till last, North Melbourne and Adelaide. We're going to skip to the Sunday twilight game.
Do we have to?
Well, let's just touch on it. The car crash, the pile-up that is got bigger for mine. Melbourne had, I think I heard a stat, they had 8 inside 50s to half-time. That is alarmingly bad. At the half-time score, 85-14.
Fans?
Please expand.
Fans?
It's nasty. It is.
Yeah, what do you say? What do you say?
Yeah, they've got a young side, but the fact of the matter is, hopefully you can beat this out for it if we need to, but they are shit.
Look, I'm not going to talk about them until these are elite footballers. Their career and, by extension, almost their life depends on this. Until they offer more than a second-rate VAFA side offer. Not even VFL. Seriously.
4th division.
Seriously, a standalone VFL side would whoop Melbourne.
Yeah.
They'd beat them by 6 goals.
Melbourne?
They seriously would, easily. And until they offer anything more than I reckon, if I had the same amount of training I could offer, then no, I'm not talking about them.
I know fans still have something to say here, but the issue for mine is, I don't care if you get whacked. At least show some bloody ticker. And at least have a crack. For mine, they're not even having a crack.
So this is purely the players?
Well, I think Mark Neils... I'm not going to slag him because for mine, there is the saying, that's not always true, but there is the saying that you can only do so much with the group you've got. And for mine, they're not playing for him, which is the big issue in all of this. I think Mark Neils is a fantastic coach. Maybe... he's potentially a better assistant coach. I'm not saying he's not a good senior coach. I'm just saying I think he's better suited to an assistant role where he can have his own line because he did a fantastic job at Collingwood.
Yep. Good call.
But, look, again, the issue for mine, and I know Joey's nodding his head here, they are not playing for him at Melbourne.
No, I'll agree. Yeah, I don't want to bash Nildy because I think that, look, you can even... go back to Bailey and Danaher before him. there's something needs to change with the culture of that club.
You know where it started? The rot started, I reckon. Under Bailey, they showed something. Was it 8 games they won that year?
Yeah.
And they were looking like, things were getting better. Yes, there was that big loss, and that's what eventually led to his sacking. But, gee, there's no confidence anywhere within the football department. There's no one you can turn to and trust, is there?
Nah. Well, my dear old mother, she does love her footy, but she's got a lot of opinions about it as well. A lot of them I don't agree with, but she's very controversial. But one thing she did say to me, and I wholeheartedly agree, the recruitment team at the Melbourne Football Club is the real thing that needs to be looked at.
Isn't Viney's dad?
Yes, he had a big say in it.
Yeah.
And
wasn't
again,
he just given that position basically to lure Jack, in a way?
Well, yes, we've said that before as well, and we've also said that he's, he didn't play on the weekend there, but he's not a 3rd pick in the national draft.
Nope, not at all.
Fans?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. You're saying he's not good enough for pick 3?
No. Oh, I honestly don't think he is.
He's hard. That's it.
Yeah.
You can find that at pick 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
We don't want to slam the kid, but we're just saying it's an issue with their football department. I mean, they've been blinded by the fact that they've had to pick an historical name that's involved with the Melbourne Football Club over potentially better talent. Ollie Wines, one example.
Nathan Horvath, another one.
Yeah, look, I guess you could look at any team and pick out horrible picks.
That's true, but why? I think we've
Well, let's talk about one more.
Well,
Jack Watts over Nick Naitanui, the most obvious one.
Oh, jeez, that could have gone either way, surely.
I honestly don't. At the time, and I only say this because at the time I was saying it, how could you not pick Nick Naitanui? How could you not see the potential in him more than Jack Watts?
Potential, but risk. I think that's maybe a problem.
I like that call.
They play safe, and they've probably done it again with the likes of Shannon Burns and Dorsey.
But, I mean, they were rock bottom. I think if there was ever a chance to just say, screw it, we've got to just go completely youth here. This was it. Why are they targeting... Well, David Roden again, didn't he? I'm not sure if he's injured. Correct me if I am, but I don't think he is.
No, I don't think so.
Why is he not even playing if he was recruited?
Fair question. They played Cam Pedersen as well, another mature age guy.
Not in the team.
No, he's not in the team.
No.
Because after the first game, when they got thumped, or maybe it was the second game, they got thumped, he dropped after the blokes he just brought in.
Yeah.
Well, that is just stupid.
Yeah.
He can't do that.
Well, it's a massive issue for mine, and you've ended up talking about Melbourne.
I can't help it, can you?
Let's just stop there. I mean, what else can you really say? Everyone knows it's not good enough, and they've just got to start playing for their coach. I mean, God Almighty, they've got Hawthorn this week at the MCG.
No, the thing with the D's is they'll come in, they'll put in a big effort for a half or 3/4, and they won't get pumped, will they?
Yeah,
they'll still be bad, but they'll show something.
Yeah, but let's talk about a better team to talk about. Let's be honest. Freo, they are just going along beautifully at the minute. They're up into 4th now. Pretty healthy percentage as well. Ballantyne kicking 3, being a pest as always, but a good pest. Mundy, Barlow and Fife finding plenty of the ball. And look, they're going to be a pretty good side this year.
The way they play is not geared to high-scoring games and big wins. No. I'm going to put my neck on the line here again, as I seem to do so very often here because I'm so brave. That'll be their biggest win in 3 years. They won't beat a side by more than 90 points in 3 years. There you go.
It's definitely large.
Let us know if you agree on Facebook or Twitter there. But that's my tip.
Who would you say has been their best player this year? Freo's.
Look, I suppose...
Almost important, I suppose.
Michael Walters.
Yeah, good call. Horribly underrated here in Melbourne still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his name's got out a bit, but... Do you rate their forward line without Pavlich? Fans for you as well?
Look, fans?
Look, Pavlich would definitely help, I think, if that's something that can be said.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, look, I think you got to give credit to Walters. Opportunistic isn't the easiest role to play, and he's done it to a T. They've had midfielders, I guess, drop through there, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. It's part of Ross Lyon's overall game plan that all their players are really versatile now, and they can plug in roles and that type of thing. But I think a lot of credit has to go to your man, Timothy.
The main train.
The main train, yes. Such a pivotal guy, playing above what his physical capabilities look like he should be playing, and just a lot of credit goes to him, I think. But we can probably move on from that one because it was an abomination.
Yeah, no, we'll move on. Now this, well, where do you start here? We've come to the last game of the round, North Melbourne versus Adelaide. And
what a game it was.
Just once again, Cam, the tech man, has wandered in. I'm just going to ask you, do you want to be a part of the last bit of the show, or do you want to sit out?
I'll sit here and I'll chime in if I need to chime in.
No, all right, we don't mind this. Joey, we've said this before and we are saying it again. And thankfully the Kangaroos are making us look like geniuses. But their inability to close out games is alarming. And surely people are going to listen to us here at BST and acknowledge that we were right 3 weeks ago.
Have you seen those college marching bands when they come out onto the college football grounds?
Yes.
They come out and you got your trumpet, your big round horn things, and they're playing the do. I tell you what, that's us this week at BST because we have been beating that drum out the front for weeks and weeks and weeks. We have been telling you out there, listeners, how bad North Melbourne are in clutch situations, and by golly gosh, what a way to show us. Phantom, what is your thoughts on this one?
Oh, look, you just don't know where to go. Adelaide, look, take nothing away from them, but yeah, they plucked a win there. They plucked it.
Did you watch the last few minutes of that game?
The simple fact is, just before we go, North Melbourne, the position they say they are, they should be beating Adelaide in Melbourne.
Of course they should.
That's first and foremost. But
they're 3-6.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost games now. We say it every week. They've lost games under a kick to Geelong, Hawthorn, and Adelaide. That's just off the top that I can remember. There are 3 games they should have won, and that is the reason why they will not, their inability, to close out these games is why they are going to finish about where they are. Yeah,
look, they couldn't. They act like they're a 6-3 side, but they don't play like it.
No.
I don't know. The mental fragility.
5 goals up halfway through the last quarter.
I was watching it, and and you say that players and teams and coaches know about the opposition. Sometimes you can just smell a weakness. And I know they're up by so much, and it just seemed impossible given the score and the amount of time left. But I almost felt like it was going to happen. I never switched off. I never, gave up on Adelaide because I always thought that it just might happen.
Well, I heard at 3/4 time, Brenton Sanderson, he was on the couch during the week on Fox Footy there. He said that they told the players that North Melbourne cannot finish games. So keep pushing. If you do the things we want you to do, we'll win this game. And lo and behold, they've done it.
And Adelaide were always helping them. The kick out from Brent Riley, I think it was, when Daniel Wells marked it, you thought you couldn't lose from there. What else do you have to do?
Well, another alarming fact was they were 12 points down with 2 minutes 20 left in the game, and Adelaide had it in their own defensive goal square. Again, one that stands out. North Melbourne are up by 5 points. Drew Petrie's got the ball in his hands.
Yep.
How can they not find a loose option somewhere?
Yeah, especially look with the way teams press, and there's always an option down back, isn't there? Always a loose man that you can go to
But if there's not, put it long to the
Down the line,
boundary
yeah.
and put it out of bounds.
The kick was on centre wing. Didn't go anywhere near close to the boundary line.
No.
For one, if you're going to kick it there, you have to kick it long and strong towards the line to your ruckman so he can just punch it out.
Exactly.
I think he kicked it, probably Daniel Wells or something like that. Who was at the centre of that pack. Now, it's just...
How many isolated incidents do we have to point out week after week after week? And even the Petrenko goal, I should say, over the back. They had 3 or 4 blokes go up for the ball. No one stayed down. Lo and behold, it bounces over the back, and Petrenko's just run in and kicked it.
My issue, why was it still 1-on-1 footy in there? Adelaide's attacking 50. Why had someone not...
Flood back.
Yeah. I know they had the ball, but why are they leaving it 2-on-2 inside 50 when Petrie's got the ball?
Well, is this a case where Brad Scott may want to be trailing all game rather than giving up in the dying seconds?
Well, it's not looking good for him.
But I mean,
not that he's in trouble job-wise. I mean, it's not looking good, the mental strength that his team has of him.
But is he not showing these players these incidents? Or are they not listening? Or are they incapable of learning? Because it's one of those 3 things.
Incapable of, and an inability to be mentally strong in clutch situations.
I agree.
And they're not getting better at it. They've had enough practice now.
Yep.
But I mean, let's just talk about Adelaide quickly. Sam Kerridge has bobbed up here and kicked 6. That's a pretty damn good game from him. But one for mine, I know I blow his horn a bit here. Richie Douglas, 28 possessions, couple of goals. He is a legitimate 2-way running midfielder. He gets back and he gets forward. For mine, he's a really, really good player, guys.
Look, the Crows are a team where you got your Kerridges, your Douglases, even Dangerfield a little bit. They're a team that all of them could walk into a bar and you wouldn't know any. You just think it was a few blokes off the street, wouldn't you? Yeah. They're a massive no-name team. But last week we said the Crows a chance to make finals. Halfway through the last quarter, you could almost write them off, I reckon, if they went to 4 and 5. But they've kept their chances alive, and they're going to need to play a little bit better than that, though, I think, if they still want to make it.
Let's just put the simple fact out here. Against anyone else, they wouldn't be winning that game 5 goals down halfway through the last quarter. I mean, putting aside the Bulldogs and stuff like that, because the Bulldogs probably wouldn't be in a situation where they're 5 goals up. But anyone in the top 8 at the minute, that's a better way to say it. Anyone in the top 8...
Top 12.
Yeah, they wouldn't be winning that game 5 goals down halfway through the last quarter. But I don't know. Where to now for the Kangaroos? I mean, now...
Well, let's move into the next game. Who have they got next
they've
week?
got St Kilda, and then they've got Gold Coast up there.
A couple of danger ones there.
Yeah. St Kilda on the rebound. They would have been, really battered around this week. Yep. So, but if North Melbourne...
They win the next 2 and they go 5 and 6.
If they lose...
Yeah,
one of their next 2, I think they're done.
Yep, agree. Even if they do make the 8 now, it's very hard.
If they make it, they'll finish 8th and they'll lose first week.
Yep. What do you think, fans?
Well, look, their team's capable of pulling a final, I think, but look, I wouldn't be betting on them in the next 2 weeks, that's for sure.
Yep. Cam the Tech Man, what do you think about North Melbourne? Just their aspirations for the rest of the year? Finals?
Well, it's damage limitation from here, isn't it, Timbo?
Yeah.
But look, they'll be back. They'll be good for this. They'll learn from it. They'll cop their medicine. They'll be back in the long run, bigger, better, and they won't be ever doing that again.
But hold on a minute, Cam the Tech Man. They've done it 3 times this year.
Yeah, but this is the one that really would have hurt them. Obviously, every game hurts them bad, but this one would have cut deeper than others. And surely this time they learn their lesson.
Well, if it happens again, we're coming after you. Because...
well, you won't have the Tech Man.
Fair call.
Pieces we may not be on the air next week.
Look, let's leave that behind. But North Melbourne, simply not good enough. and we will continue to smack you around on BSC until you lift your game.
Yep.
So look, let's. Do you want to look at the ladder or the?
A quick one on the ladder, then the games, I think.
All right, yeah. So, I mean, we don't have to get it up or anything. Obviously, we're a podcast, so we can't. But as I said before, James True Blue Aussie Watson, my good mate, said that he reckons the top 8 is locked, apart from Crows coming out and Collingwood coming in. Phantom, down there on the end, what do you think?
Look, the ones in question, I guess you'd say in the top 8 are the bottom 4, really. Crows, Blues, Power and Tigers. And the ones contending, you'd say Magpies, Kangaroos if they lift their game. And you might even want to throw the Suns in there.
I think you would.
Possibly, but fans, Port Adelaide aren't in the 8.
Oh, sorry. Reading one below, sorry.
No, very good. Look, can I go on a bit of a rant here and tell you my top 4 and tell you how it's set?
Yeah, well, I'll just quickly say I think it is set with Collingwood coming in and Adelaide coming out. I don't know the order, but I think that'll be your top 8.
Look, let's take it back a level here. Let's go to the top 2. The Hawks and Cats almost could lock it in. The only challenger from there would be Freo for mine. Because the other team I'm going to mention in a second, the Eagles, are going to come hard. I honestly think the top 4, Hawks, Cats, Freo and Eagles, I am dead set of the opinion that will be our top 4, and I'm going to go further than that. They will be the 4 teams left standing on preliminary final day. And if by chance, this is just hope now, if we got a Western Derby versus a Hawks Cats prelim, I would be one very happy boy. But look, Hawks, Cats, Freo and the Eagles, it's theirs to lose. The Swans will be thereabouts, maybe 5th. I think the Blues will push up a little bit. The Pies will make the 8 because they have a pretty easy run the next few weeks. And throw a blanket over the Crows and the Tigers and maybe even the Suns for mine.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree too much. That's your 8. Just down the bottom reaches, your bottom 4 in order, please, from 15th to 18th.
Fans?
Geez, Giants might pull out a win, you know.
Well, that's my next. Will they win a game this year?
They'll win 1.
Melbourne? Do they play Melbourne again?
No, they'll shock someone late. Someone who's packed the season away, who's finished maybe a Lions or I don't know, Power.
Can't go too high. Yeah. Phantom?
Yeah, so whether they push up and you maybe say Melbourne, Giants, Dogs, Saints.
Yeah, fair call. You think, the D's, if they do win the Spoon, fans, will they ever come back? Or will we see an exodus the size that we've never seen before?
Oh, I don't think they're another Fitzroy, are they?
I think they're close. I actually do think they're close. They'll relocate.
Do they merge or?
Who do you merge with?
Oh yeah, well you can't merge because then we've got odd teams, don't we? Do they relocate, rebrand, everything?
Have to.
Yeah.
For mine. I don't want to see them go to Tassie, but I half suspect that'll happen.
Surely the AFL couldn't let that happen though. One of the oldest bloody clubs.
The oldest team.
The
Bit of a
oldest.
tech check there.
Thank you,
Statsman Cam.
Ash Chewer.
No, look, I think they have to. What happens? You can't. Let's say they lose Sylvia, which is likely to happen. They lose Watts, which is likely to happen. Who else are they going to lose? Who else are the decent players? I wouldn't be surprised if
don't reckon that list goes very deep.
probably Grimes and maybe Trengrove. If one of those two leaves as well, they are going to be awful. Jesse Hogan is the only light, and I feel so sorry for that kid.
Little Mitch Clark as well, but he's injury prone.
But
Sabagri.
He's just a mercenary anyway.
Does he regret that, do you reckon?
He's not playing for the jumper, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, do you reckon he regrets turning down a trip back to Perth where it's a bit brighter skies over there at the minute.
I think the dollars talk, Tim.
Yeah, he'll just take his cash and run. But dearie me, we that's for another week to discuss. So let's just quickly look at next week, and we'll get a tip from everyone here, even Cam the techie on the end there. But Friday night footy, we've got Brisbane versus Collingwood. Absolutely ginormously, humongously big, skyscraper-sized game for Collingwood. Cannot lose this game.
I reckon they'll be flat still. I reckon it's a big danger game.
I reckon it's a danger game, but I reckon they'll win by about 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah, I'm hoping more than that. Jonathan Brown out.
Jonathan Brown out, Leuenberger out, Rockcliffe out, and Sauce Merritt still suspended.
Well, whether that spices things up and changes the Lions' game plan to a winning one, I doubt it. I think the Pies will be too strong.
Yeah. Joey?
Look, I want to tip Brisbane. I can't bring myself to, but I wouldn't be surprised if they got up.
Cam the techie?
I got to go for the Pies. Timbo?
Any reason?
Better team.
Well said. Saturday afternoon footy, Carlton versus GWS. I think this will be Carlton across the board here.
Carlton.
GWS.
Fans.
Phantom. Silly.
Not the best start.
Cam the techie is a blue.
Well, I'm just about to turn Fando's mic off over that.
We can edit it out, I'm sure.
Carlton for sure.
Now, the second game on Saturday afternoon, I've got it right. Adelaide versus Fremantle. This is a really interesting one. Adelaide have a damn good record against Fremantle. And I'm actually going to tip an upset. I think Adelaide might win this.
Yeah, until Fremantle do anything wrong, I'll be tipping Fremantle.
Yeah, they're paying ridiculously good odds, and I have a big payday coming. I've forked a bit out on Freo.
Bet responsibly, please.
Gamble responsibly, but Freo, put your money on them, put everything you own on them, but be responsible when you do it.
Cam Mateki.
Hard to pick than a broken nose, this one, Tim. It could go either way. Over in Adelaide, with Freo's a better team.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the Crows but it's a flip of the coin.
Beautiful. And we all know who can rig a coin flip.
Wow.
No one, because it's
I
impossible.
Once Beast is 90% on the coin flip. But anyway, that's for another time.
Bet responsibly.
The third, just imagine me in 2 up. Oh, I would have ran home with the money. Sydney versus Essendon up in Sydney there, Saturday afternoon. Sydney for mine. They'll teach the unaccountable at times Bombers a bit of a lesson for mine.
Unaccountable. Jeez, Joby Watson?
Well, obviously...
Bit of love there by the Joe B.
Fanto, you have not been listening to us talk about Essendon. We think they have a lot of freelancers on that team who, when the pressure comes a little bit, they just go a bit missing.
I'll back him this week.
Who are you tipping?
Essendon.
The upset.
Essendon.
Wow. Fans. He's whipped him out and put him on the table.
Bang.
Don't mind your bravery first up, fans. Joey?
Nah, you got to go Sydney. You don't trust Essendon yet.
I'm going to go Sydney, but I also would like to bring up Joseph. Pre-season, you had Sydney outside the 8. Are you going to admit that you were wrong?
Look at this.
Well, Cam, let's have a look here. 9th and 10th and 11th are only 1 game behind Sydney. At this stage, I won't admit that I'm wrong, but it's looking likely.
Okay. Yeah, that'll do for now.
That'll do?
I'll be back later in the year.
Well, I look forward to it.
Now, hold on a minute. When did they install lights down at Skilled Stadium?
Recently.
Because
the first game under lights.
we've got a night game in Geelong. Geelong versus Gold Coast. Fans.
You'd like to say the Suns, but it's just not going to happen.
If you'd like to say them, and you will. The Suns may just cause an upset here for mine. Back them in.
Well, under lights at the Cattery, there'll be no Suns out, so the Cats from mine.
Well,
Cats for mine also. Look at this, Beasters. He's been hiding away in the sound booth for years. Bulldogs versus Port up in Darwin. We all know the conditions up in Darwin really throw games up in the air. Richmond dropping a few games up there in previous years. But I still think Port Adelaide for me.
Yeah, Port are a good side. Maybe had
No, they're not.
had some weaknesses discovered by opposition coaches. But yeah, good side. Definitely win.
Not a good side. I'm tipping the Bulldogs not the inaugural. How many times they play up there, these two teams? A few?
A few, 3 or 4 times.
So the fifth winner of the Who Cares Cup will be Port Adelaide. Sorry, the Bulldogs. Got confused there.
Oh, dear me. This is what an hour 15 show does to you. Cam?
Well, I'm going to go the Power. It feels like they play up there a bit. I believe they played the Bulldogs and maybe even the D's in the past.
Yes,
Could be wrong on
and
that.
they've played Tigers up there as well.
But, so I think the Power played there a bit, which could give them the edge over the Bulldogs' home game.
Beautiful.
Seems like the stat man and the techie has done this before.
Yes, I
Timothy.
think he has. He's got his own closet show, I reckon. He records it hidden away there each week. But we'll try and hunt that one down. Melbourne Hawthorn, just quickly. Hawthorn.
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 And second last game. North Melbourne versus St Kilda. Now this is an interesting one.
St Kilda for me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to tip the Saints as well.
St Kilda in an upset for me too.
Arden Street will burn down if they lose. I'm going to go the Kangaroos.
Okay. And final game of the week, interestingly snuck in this one, a bit of Monday night footy. West Coast versus Richmond over in Perth.
That is too.
Yeah.
Fans, what are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, you'd love to say the Tigers, but I think unless Ivan Marriage lifts his game,
Do you have a soft spot for this man?
No, I simply looked at last year and saw he was killing it. This year, not so much.
Does the hair need to go?
For charity?
Yes.
Maybe.
What does that mean?
Oh, Big Tex Walker.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they were only growing it with each other. So why isn't Big Ivan shaving at the same time as Tex?
Because if he shaves at the same time to draw, he's got to win.
I just thought that could have been, for charity.
Why do you keep it? Oh, keep the mullet. I'm growing mine. Not really, but I'd like to. Look, I better for tipping here. I'm going to tip the Eagles in what will be an absolute thumping.
Yeah, I reckon Eagles are going to get a good squirrel grab on the Tigers here and win by 10 goals.
Something you're familiar with?
Cameron, round us out.
Where's this game at? Sorry.
It's in Perth, Ash.
Well, I was about to say the Tigers, but Perth. Well, there's only one winner, and that's the West Coast.
That's exactly right. Wow, Beasters. We have completed another podcast here. We've had our first guests on. Joey, how good was that?
It's been a blast. Loved the show this week.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Just Beasters out there, don't forget you can stay in touch with us on the social media.
Like us on Facebook, Tim.
Well, thank you. But, look, I know there's no script here, but at least Cam the Techie, wait till I'm reading my sentence. But I love his eagerness. He's exactly right. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/BST Weekly. And we've got a Twitter account too, which Cam the Techie monitors daily, at BST Weekly. Send them into Cam and he fires them to us. Get in touch with us there. Ask us questions. We'll devour them and then spit them out back at you next week. We'll tackle all the big issues. Cam the Techie, thank you very much for joining us today. Did you enjoy it?
Well, yes, I did, Tim. Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Thank you. Have a good week. We'll hopefully see you next week. Fanto, over there, what are you going to be doing this week? You're going to be getting out to Victoria, just doing what you do best?
Yeah,
What do you do, Fanto?
What don't I do, Cam?
Well, he wanted his identity hidden
Oh, right.
for this show.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hence the name Phantom. But I can tell you, he is Victoria's finest at what he does. I guarantee, Beasters, you will see this man in your life at some point. He is a jack of all trades, master of all. This man has got all the tricks up his sleeve that you could hope for. But look, Fanto, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I have, Tim, and thank you. I'm sure after some very extended editing, this might sound half professional.
No need for that, fans. So please.
Techie,
Yeah, well, exactly. We've got the techie over there for that. But look, Joey, from me and your good self, it's been a pleasure. Beasters, stay with us. We'll be back next week. And Joey,
Do not forget BST Weekly.
see ya.